Hey everyone, welcome to your Take a Peek at 2022 reading. We want to take a peek because do we really want all the surprises ruined? Because how fun would that be? I know, sometimes we wish maybe I would like to know everything that's going to happen, but I think we've tried that before and it was very boring, so we'll leave the exciting journey, going forward. And besides, we'll get messages and hints all along the way, so if you don't want to miss out on any of those videos that I put out throughout the weeks and the months of all next year, and you want to get notified immediately, if you haven't done so already, if you click the subscribe button down below, that'll just make a little notification bell pop up, and then you can select to be notified immediately, and that way you won't miss out on a thing, because 2022 is going to be an amazing year. The physical world is going to continue to disappoint us until we discover more and more of the powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being we really are. And we'll find that when we're looking on the inside, right? And I just announced on New Year's Eve last night, this video is coming out on January 1st, but I did a little video announcing that I'm going to be having a weekly video for all of 22 called You times 2, and that are going to be basically messages about how we can do that, how we can discover that there are two of us inside of us, our human side, but then also, this character of the human, but we're more than that. We are this powerful supernatural being. And so all of those messages are going to be about just how we understand that, who we are, etc. So if you want to look into that, you can check out the video that I put out last night. I go into a little more detail, but stay tuned because it's coming and I'm super excited about it. But for this reading, let's go ahead and jump in and take a peek at your 2022. And you're going to have three choices. You have the star, the sparkler, or the fire rocket. And of course, you can choose as many of those as you want, whatever you're drawn to. I'll have timestamps in the description box below for all of them, but I'm going to jump into number 1 first. So if you want any of the others, just click on that timestamp and it'll jump you forward to that video. But I'm going to start with reading number 1, the blue star, right now. All right, on my Gemini, if you chose reading number 1, which is the star, then this is the reading for you. And we are going to pull here first from the Enchanted Map Oracle to get your first sneak peek at this next year for you, what the creator wants you to know, at least at this point. All right, so for our Geminis, our Gemini stars, what would you like them to know? And actually, it's this one right here. And you have the intention, card number 22 for 2022. So how synchronistic is that? And I love that owl on the egg. So definitely some new birth things coming your way, I imagine. And the card says, deliberate, clear intentions have the power to change your world. Your objectives will be fulfilled at this time. So this next year, you're going to reach some very significant objectives. This says, inspired intentions are like magic arrows shot into the sky. The universe is bringing you a gift, showing you that you are hitting your mark. Recognize that you're not the one that has to do all the work, however. Others help you co-create reality. You connect to the power of your intention, sending it out into the field, and then allow for synchronicity to work its magic. Perhaps the good intentions of others will inspire you to send out beautiful ones of your own. Own the life you want to lead and live deliberately with clarity and detachment. And I love that because one of the things in our life is that we do feel like we have to do everything on our own. And when we're in our human form, we kind of feel like sometimes we're abandoned and left to fend on our own, right? But it's a wonderful awareness that comes when we look at, we can, like it says, put out our intentions out into the Creator, out into, the field, like it says, out where all of our posse, our support team of beings of unconditional love and light on the other side, we can ask them for help. And the how and the when, that's where our stress comes in. But once we get connected to our what, then, like this little owl, he's making a little wish with the little, what is that called? Dandelion? Yeah, that's a little dandelion, poof that you make a wish and blow on it, and all those seeds go out. And then let the universe, let the Creator, let your support team on the other side, let them bring those things to you and show you, that kind of guidance. A lot of times just shutting up and listening and breathing and enjoying the moment and each step as it unfolds is such a gift anyway. We're also going to pull cards here from the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. Let's see what else the Creator wants you to know about this little sneak peek into 2022. What else for our Gemini stars? Okay, well, really, okay. So I want those three, and these two, and I said no others. Those are it for this one. And let us start here. And you've got the King of Cups. Cups are your emotions. And the King brings this beautiful gift here. I keep on saying gift, so you have these gifts coming in next year. This is the Holy Grail. This is the chalice, and what it's full of is the unconditional love of the Creator of all things. It's the living waters. It's what we're truly searching for. And the kind of the lesson or the wisdom, because the King has learned the lesson through all of the cups. So he's been through all of the emotional journeys, has a lot of wisdom to offer, but one of the biggest things that he offers is letting you know that finding your answers from within is very important. Connecting to your emotional side is very important, especially for air signs, which I am a sun sign, I'm an air sign, so I understand. It's like, get out of your head, trust your gut, trust your emotions, not making decisions strictly by emotion, but also not strictly by all your brain information either. So throughout this next year, it's really this beautiful awareness that comes. One, you get to have this understanding, this connection to the higher realms, because that's where this unconditional love comes from. And as I mentioned in the intro, it is all about connecting to our higher place, which is 22 is a power number. And for me, that is about connecting to your spiritual side. So it's not a surprise that you get to connect to this unconditional love, because this is going to be a huge part of your journey next year. Yeah, and you have the Wheel of Fortune. Card number 10, so you have some endings and new beginnings coming in, but there's this wonderful story that comes with this Wheel of Fortune that Spirit gave me. And it's before you come down here, your beautiful, powerful soul on the other side determines when it's going to come into this life and when it's going to leave this life, what character is going to represent it during this game of life. So this human, what family you're going to be in, all your talents, everything like that. And then all these fated events that you want to experience as you're going through this journey, because each of those fated events is going to help you understand more about who you really are, your powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being self-made of unconditional love, by experiencing your shadow, all these emotions that are rooted in fear, this human side of fight or flight that we get to, feel limited and powerless instead of limitless and powerful, right? But within each of these fated events, we still have our power of choice, our free will, where we get to choose what story we apply to the situation, because this fated event happens, but we get to determine what it means about us and the world and everything else. So our opinion that forms the story, we get to choose that, and we also get to choose what emotion we are going to feel around a situation. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel like we're making choices at all, because we've been so brainwashed and conditioned growing up that, when the popular opinion will say is, when this happens, this is what it means. When this happens, that's how you're supposed to feel. And it's been reinforced over and over and over and over in our lives, to where it became our habit, it became our reaction. So when that thing happens, then that's, this is what it means, this is how I'm supposed to feel, so we feel it. And we keep reinforcing it ourselves as we go through those things in life too. But if we recognize, if we could take a deep breath and just slow time, we could see where the choice is made. And then we can also realize that if we can calm ourselves and pause as much as we can make a different choice. We can, around the story that it means and around the emotion that we're going to have. So this is a beautiful message that comes for you throughout this next year, is that life is not an out-of-control drama train that's about to jump the tracks and dramatically explode in a gorge. It's more of like a monorail train at Disney World, where it's connected to the rail so it can't fly off. And it's a smooth ride, and it has all its stops that happen on time, on purpose, for a purpose. And it really converts our attitude about life, that life no longer happens to us, but life happens for us. And we move from feeling like a victim to feeling like a victor, because we know that everything that happens is happening for us, and it is for our ultimate good. So as this happens, and as things change throughout next year, let this be kind of your little navigator, right? Understanding that whatever's happening is happening on purpose for you. And then you've got the 8 of discs, which would be the 8 of pentacles in a regular deck, other decks, I guess I should say. And this is about the outside world. The pentacles and the discs are about the, physical world. And you have been doing work out in the physical world, and you've been making steps to try to get to somewhere, whether it's like education. You're in some sort of program where you're getting ready to graduate, or you've been trying to learn a new skill, whether it's at work or a hobby or something along those lines. It's almost like you've been an apprentice for a while, really perfecting your skill, because you've been putting out all this stuff, but you're ready to graduate this next year, ready to move up to a new level in whatever thing that may be, whatever is this drive, this thing that you've been driven toward, that you've really, really just thirsted for so much. This is about getting to that point where you move to the next level in it, and you feel that satisfaction with it because you're ready, and it's beautiful knowledge that's coming through all that. And then you have the Ace of Swords. Swords are your thoughts, your beliefs, your mentalities, your attitudes, your expectations. And the Ace of Swords brings 2 things for you. The first thing is that it allows you to connect to the higher realms and really kind of procure capital T truths. You're able to obtain them and absorb them and really have them come into your being, which, that you are unconditionally loved by the creator of all things, that life happens for you, not to you. 2 huge capital T truths that don't need defending. That's the thing. Small t truths are what our ego, our shadow believes, all those opinions of this should be, this supposed to be, the need to be, the have to be, all those expectations and opinions of the outside world that are always being defended. That's why there's so much angst that happens, so much battling that happens, because one person is trying to prove that their small t truth is more true than that other person's small t truth, right? But this Ace of Swords allows you to see the truth that does not need defending, because it's the capital T truths of the spiritual world. And this also gives you the power to cut away those small t truths that no longer serve you. They have served you for a time, because they do allow us to experience all these delicious, uncomfortable emotions that are rooted in fear, right? And then we're like, for God's sake, why would I ever want to experience that? But when you look at the whole scheme of things, in order to understand more fully who we are on the other side, we come here to experience our opposite. Like, we're always breathing air around us, but until we're 6 feet underwater, we don't realize what air really is, because we're in non-air, where we can't breathe it anyway, and we're looking up at the air on the surface, and we're going, that is air. I understand it so much more. I appreciate it so much more, and I am swimming toward back it right now. And so, but it's that understanding. By experiencing the opposite, we more fully understand what something really is. Just like if we were always happy, we would never know what happiness is until we experience sadness, right? And in the depths that we experience sadness, we understand the depths of happiness. And so we came here and we've experienced those things, but this Ace of Swords allows you to cut away those thoughts and those beliefs that served you to serve up that deliciousness, but now you're ready to move on to something else this coming year. So I love that that came in there for you. Yeah, and this was perfect, because this is what you're cutting away. 8 of Swords. See how it's our own thoughts and our own beliefs here that blind us, that bind us, and that make us feel trapped and contained and like we can't go anywhere. And that makes total sense with this intentions here, because before, if you have these beliefs about yourself, then yeah, why would you even believe that your dreams, your inner dreams, are reasonable, that they're obtainable, that you deserve them, right? So this little Ace of Swords is cutting away these small t truths that have been holding you down to where you can fly, baby, fly. And so this is going to be a great switch of situations here for you, because to the extent you felt so contained, you're going to feel so free this next year. We're also going to pull a card, at least one card from this Art of Manifestation Oracle, and just see what else the Creator would like to give you a sneak peek into next year. So I am liking this for you, though. All right, what else for our Gemini stars? Okay, there we go. Any others? Okay, and that one. So your first one was mistakes. Yep, that is one of your fears, isn't it? I know it was one of mine. Says, if you feel you've made a mistake, or indeed someone else has done so with impact on you, please don't feel bad about this. Treasure and value your mistakes and those of others around you. They are the cutting edge of our personal growth and evolution. Lean into the learning and celebrate your openness to grow. So this talked about learning, right? The card number 8 with this 8 of Pentacles and 8 of Discs, about what you're learning in the outside world is coming to this completion here, which I love. I didn't even pick up 8 and 8. Duh. So you've got 8 and 8 here too. So, this movement that you're having, this life lessons that you're having, you're definitely graduating from, and understanding that there really are no mistakes. We came here for experiences, and every second we are experiencing it. So rather than looking at it as a mistake, you look at it as a learning experience and a revelation. Because when things don't work out the way we thought they should, right? Then all these shoulds. This is when we experience mistakes, when we're judging ourselves. But when you realize that whenever something doesn't work out the way that we think it should, it actually brings awareness and clarity to our lives. And so it's another one of those beautiful gifts I was talking about. And then you have open yourself to possibility. Yeah, right in line with intentions, right? I love that picture too. That says almost everyone holds some limiting beliefs about themselves. These perceptions block us from receiving the infinite support of the universe. This card is an invitation to reassess and to look beyond these limitations and to recognize that in opening yourself to possibility, you automatically invite positive change into your life. So yeah, this is all about opening up to these possibilities and just seeing that you hold the key, you hold the power to hatching that beautiful egg of intention this next year. Because, like I said, your support team wants to help you in so many ways, but it's these limiting beliefs that are keeping you bound. But you have this Ace of Swords, so you have the power in your hands, and you've got the power in your heart, and you got the support team all around you. So there's no stopping you if you want to make that move. So I really love this. Now, this is just a small sneak peek into your 2022, of course. So just this is what they want you to know starting off with the year. And if you want to be kept in the loop as I put out the new monthly readings by zodiac sign, and I do weekly updates by each of the elements and new moon, full moon readings and a bunch of different other readings. Like I said in the beginning, if you just want to get notified when those videos become available, if you haven't done so already, just click the subscribe button and then the little notification bell, and then you can set your setting to be notified there. Also, if you want to help share the love and share these messages, if you give this video a little thumbs up and click that like button, that just helps the YouTube algorithm share this information with more people. It makes like a suggested video. So never any pressure to do that, but if you'd like to do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, my dears, just know that as you're going through each and every second of every day of your life, that you are unconditionally loved by the creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. Have an amazing 2022. I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon, though. So until then, you take care. All right, all my Geminis, if you chose reading number 2, which is the Sparkler, then this is the reading for you. And we're going to start off with a card from these Enchanted Map Oracle, just to see what kind of sneak peek the creator would like to give you for 2022. So our Gemini Sparklers, what would you like them to know about 2022? Okay, yep, that's the one right there. All right, and you have the Magical Map Shifter. I thought it said Shifter. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read it a little closer here. Yeah, it is Magical Map Shifter. I thought it said Shapeshifter, but it is a map shifter. Look at all that magical juggling of amazing things this next year. So this is going to be exciting. Let's take a look here and see what message comes with that here. All right, so this says Spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. When the Magical Map Shifter card arrives, it comes with a mission: to make you aware of the people who come into your life to impact your personal growth. Perhaps you may meet a soulmate whose presence invites you to be the best you that you can be, or someone who leads you out of difficulty and into a place of safety or success. So this next year, it's about, it says, pay attention to those individuals who come across your path this next year and cause you to reflect on your journey. Be awake and aware, and you'll recognize them for the important change agents that they are. Your whole perspective about who you are and why you're here will shift next year. The Magical Map Shifter always initiates you into a better version of yourself. And, the word better has always kind of, lately anyway, over the last couple of years, has kind of not rubbed him in a wrong way, but it just brings it has like this judgy type of tint to it. And so, Spirit, when I'm like, well, how are we better? Do we get better? I mean, aren't we perfect in the moment? And so what Spirit told me is like, it's that you are becoming more aware of your truer self. The blinds, like in this case, it's like there's this mask over the eyes. The fog lifts, the clarity comes to allow you to see more clearly the amazing person that you are. So it does in our human form, we see ourselves getting better and better and better when actually we've been always this perfect, amazing, being. It's just we're becoming aware of it. And I don't know why I just had this flash of like mutant movies where they've always had the power within them. They just are discovering it. And that's kind of this next year is the discovering more and more of the amazing you. Okay. We're also going to pull cards here from this True Heart Intuitive Tarot. I'm just going to see what else the Creator wants to give you a sneak peek on around this. Who are you going to become? Or, like I said, about who are you going to be more aware of. So, okay, thank you. I want those 4 down there. Okay. And then anything else? Okay. I had a feeling you were going to have a lot. Because this is the revelation of the powerful you. And like I mentioned, that goes right in alignment with what you're talking about too in the intro about you becoming more aware of your higher spiritual powerful self. Yeah, because here's the 4 of Swords. This is about, swords are your thoughts, your beliefs, your mindsets, your mentalities, your attitudes, your expectations. And the 3 of Swords is usually the heartache card. It allows us, usually has like a giant heart with 3 swords stuck in it, and where we're experience disappointment when all our expectations were not being met. Well, the 4 is about like rest, putting your mind at rest. Usually it'll show someone like laying flat and asleep. And so this is definitely this beautiful, solid foundation in your mental approach next year. 4s are solid. Like if you think of 4 huge legs on a table, it makes a very solid solid foundational table. And so this is that base. You are coming into this place of peace. And I like that it's, showing you sitting in this beautiful, like a meditational type place, which is about, it's about getting inside, taking deep breaths, calming yourself, taking time away from all the noise. And that allows you to have this peace of mind because you're getting away from the chaos of the outside world, of all those expectations that have been disappointing you. And that's what happens really. When we're disappointed enough in the outside world, we turn inward where we find what we've been looking for all along, right? Yeah. 9 of Swords. So I love that this came before this, because if you got this first, you'd be like, oh no. But this is literally the insomnia or the nightmare card, where your thoughts and beliefs and all these swords have been keeping you up at night. All the stress of trying to meet all those expectations, all those supposed tos, all those shoulds, those have tos, those need tos. But you found this, you have the answer here. You can have peace of mind. You don't have to be in this place of constant turmoil, stress. You're like, you stress all day long, and then you go to bed and you dream about it, and then you wake up and you don't want to go back to sleep, or you have trouble sleeping because your mind is just spinning out of control. But this 4 of Swords is all about, usually they have them like sleeping on one of the swords, which would be the Ace of Swords, because that Ace of Swords is what brings you the capital T truths of the spiritual realm. And it also gives you the power to cut away these small t truths, because what all these small little truths are that are stuck in your head are popular opinions that you were conditioned with growing up. That's all those expectations. And when you start to question those with that powerful capital T truth of who you really are, then You start to go, well, is that really true? Do I really need, does that relationship really define me? Does that job or education or situation really define me? Does my body, my possessions, my bank account really define me? And as you dig into those and understand them, you set yourself free and you just start pulling each of those out and they start falling away. And you can have this wonderful place, this peace of mind here. I kind of feel like there's going to be like 4 sets of double, like kind of situations here. And then you have the 10 of discs, which would be the 10 of pentacles as well. And this is 10 is endings and new beginnings. So you're going to have some changes that happen in the outside world, but it is beneficial for you. It is a very much a success card. And I kind of feel like one of these beliefs that you have is what success means. And when we have that outside world telling us what success means, and if it's not really what we want, we just drain ourselves, to this point of almost exhaustion of trying to achieve it. And so I really feel like one of the transformational things that happens is your thoughts and beliefs about what does success mean, and that transforms this next year, and kind of your fear of not meeting up to what other people say success is. Yeah. And then you have the moon. This is beautiful because the moon card is very much about, it's like lunar mother. So it's like mother nature, mother nurture. It's a very nurturing card, beautiful emotional energy too. But it also is what the high priestess does. It's the energy that we connect to the other world around. And the message that I'm feeling with this combination of these two together is that as you connect to the upper realms, as you connect to the deeper and the unknown things, you really start to understand how unique, how powerful, how supernaturally eternal you really are, and that spiritualness, how you're so much more than this human side of us, and that we go on forever and ever. And it's like that transforms how you really perceive the world, because as you realize you're endless, that you're limitless, that you're powerful, that you have this connection to the upper realms, the things of the physical world like lose their we lose desire for it. And it's not that we're like, oh, I'm going to give up everything and blah, 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 blah. It stops meaning as much. So success changes. An example, like my dream, changed when I had the opportunity when I was leaving a job, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do with my life? If I could do anything right now, what would it be? And it's like, and then I wrote down, okay, what is my dream? And then I went into the future. I went off into the, future and thought, oh, maybe, what do, spiritual people do? You become a best-selling author and you become very famous, and you go around and do conventions and presentations and blah, 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 and all that. And so Spirit took me into the future and put me down in it and gave me all that feeling that I would have all that. And when I sat there, they're like, are you happy? And I'm like, well, no, because then I'm looking at what's next. And they're like, well, if you're not happy then, and if you're not happy now, how could you ever be happy anytime ever in the future? And so my dream transformed, because I'm like, yeah, when I really realized I have everything I need inside of me right now, because I have the unconditional love of the creator of all things right here inside my heart. I'm like, I have everything I could possibly need. And so my dream transformed to be here now with the creator. And that is the dream. And you can live the dream every day, right? But that is like your definition of success changes when you really, it's like almost stepping out onto the moon and looking down on the earth and going, okay, the earth seems a lot smaller than when I was on it. And, it's like it all changes for you. All right. And then you've got the King of Cups. So cups are your emotions. The king is the highest here. And he offers this beautiful chalice, which is the Holy Grail, the golden chalice, and it's full of the living waters, which is the unconditional love of the creator of all things on the other side. Sometimes it's called like the Christ love, but it is this unconditional love of our creator, that there's nothing we can do to gain any more of it, and there's nothing we can do to lose it, because there's no conditions at all. We have 100% of it right now and available to us. Like I was talking about, we have this love of the creator right here inside our hearts. The king also brings in this wonderful message because he's experienced all of the cups. So he's been on the journey of emotions in the fields all his life, and so he has great wisdom to give, especially to us air signs, our sun signs. We can get so much caught up in our minds because we're air signs. Well, this king brings the water energy, but all the kings in the deck too, each of the suits, they also have a sense of air energy with them as well. And so this brings in this message of balancing emotions and mind, so you have both of those coming in. So it's a very beautiful reminder to get out of our heads and get into our heart as well. And you got the Queen of Cups. So you got both of them here. Queen of Cups is very much like the High Priestess because she is water and all the queens are water. She got double water, and she does interact very well with the moon here. So both of these are reiterating the message definitely of get out of our minds and into our hearts, and it'll bring this beautiful balance that we have next year, because any decision that's made totally emotionally usually doesn't fare well for us, because a lot of times we're not in a balanced, unconditional love state. We're in a fight or flight mode with our emotions. Also, making decisions based on our mind is not always work out well, because we have so many expectations and conditioning that we're not seeing things clearly. So really connecting to the upper world is such a huge thing, because when we're in that place of unconditional love, asking the creator for answers, for direction, for wisdom, for signs and synchronicities, and we wait, then we get the answers that we're looking for, and then we're not afraid to make moves and decisions, because we're getting all the confirmation that we need. Yeah. And then you have the King of Discs, and this would be the King of Pentacles. So you have the 10 of Discs here, which is one of the most successful cards. This would also be one of the most successful cards. And like the King of Cups, he's learned a lot through all his experiences and all the pentacles. The big one being that when you define yourself by your outside world, you might feel a momentary feeling of stability, but that won't last very long, because when you're defining yourselves by relationships, situations, or things, all those things are unstable and they'll soon disappoint you, like we were talking about, right? Because people change or pass away, situations never stay the same, and things break down, burn down, or are stolen. So if we define ourselves by those external things, those unstable things, then we feel unstable. Our definition of ourselves feels unstable. So I love that this appeared above here, because this is really clarifying that too, that when you look inside of yourself to this unconditional love, to this higher being that you are, that's when you have that eternal stability in something that you can't lose because it's unconditional. Let that become your foundation, and that changes everything for you. And then you have the Princess of Cups. So you've got cups and cups and cups. So definitely a lot of emotional messages coming for you, because the Princess is also known as the Page of Cups in other decks. And not only is it about experiencing new emotion, next level emotion, it is also about receiving messages, because pages were like the hear ye of the old days. And so this is about receiving emotional messages, your gut feeling, where your mind may not even interpret it yet, but you get this flood of emotion and you understand what it means just intuitively in your heart, and following your heart is such a huge piece of this coming year. And then lastly, we're going to pull a card or two or more from this Art of Manifestation, see what comes out here for you for your final little sneak peek for 2023. One more. All right, what else for our Gemini sparklers? Okay, and there we go. So you have two. You have authenticity, number 2, which 2022 is all about the two of you, right? This says, hold your head up high, walk tall, and be your authentic self. This card asks you to shed the masks that you believed you once were required to wear. Walk to the beat of your own drum and do not be afraid to shine. In doing so, you give others permission to do the same. So I love that. I'm going to put that one over here. And then you also have forgiveness of others. Don't run away. Don't run. Forgiveness, I'll talk more about that in a sec. Forgiveness does not mean that something bad that happened to us was okay. Forgiveness means that we choose to move beyond the experience to release any ongoing need for retribution. In doing so, we no longer need to keep the memory of what happened alive within us. This choice reinstates our entitlement to be in charge of our own lives. And that makes sense with all this emotional stuff happening here, because you really discover this emotional empowerment over this next year. And, you know, that forgiveness about not keeping memories alive within us. I love that we are beings that have great memory. You know, we're not going to forget what happened to us. And usually when we hear this forgiveness, we're like, no, there's no way I'm going to, you know, let them off the hook and blah, 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 and forget what they did. And then they're just going to do it again anyway. It's like, no, we remove that memory, that emotion. We don't invest our energy into it anymore. We just move it to the side. And I love this imagery of putting it like in a photo album, because we come here to experience all this drama. We do. It's so we can understand more fully who we are on the other side. So we're going to take that photo album back to show people and go like, oh my God, you won't believe what this felt like. And they're like, oh my God, you know, it's like, you know, sharing a vacation story, right? But we don't invest energy anymore. We just move it out of our energy field, and we get all that energy back to do and to move forward and invest it where we want to invest it, instead of using it to maintain old wounds. So this forgiveness of others and forgiveness of yourself for anything that you were judging yourself on, you know, allows you this new freedom, this new flood of emotion, to where you're not so afraid to feel emotion anymore, because especially when you fill up with the unconditional love of the Creator, it's amazing, right? I mean, anything else anyone ever did, you're like, no, especially when you define yourself by it and you stop defining yourself by other people's actions. You have this transformation of these memories that you had, these experiences. Especially, you're able to see with new eyes of compassion and see that a lot of people that we felt hurt by, or situations that impacted us, we realized that they were acting out of their minds. I mean, literally, because they were in fear. If it's not of unconditional love, then it was of fear. And these individuals that were doing things, they were doing things out of fear, trying to control or be in control because they felt unsafe and were freaking out. It's like swimming out to rescue someone who's drowning, and they slap you as their arms are flailing around. That was not intentional. They were just freaking out, right? And so when we look back from a compassionate, forgiving place, we understand and we can see things more clearly, like they didn't even know what they did to me. They were all absorbed in their own fear, and that changes how we feel about ourselves as well. So I love this for you. I'm going to leave that there. This is just a small little sneak peek of your 2022, of course. There's more messages coming throughout next year as we go through our beautiful 2022 journey. And if you want to be kept in the loop on any of the new videos that I put out, because I do monthly videos based zodiac sign and weekly energy updates and full moon, new moon readings, all that type, and definitely others as well. If you want to get notified, like I mentioned in the intro, if you click the subscribe button down below and then click on the notification bell, then you can set your settings to be notified immediately. Also, if you're enjoying these readings and you want to share them with the world, if you give this video a little thumbs up and click that like button, that just helps the YouTube algorithm make it a recommended video for others. So never any pressure to do so, but if you want to do that, I appreciate it very much. All right, my dears, just know as you are going throughout each and every second and every day of your life that you indeed are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. Have an amazing 2022, but I'm sure I'm going to be talking to you very soon. Until then, you take care. All right, my Geminis, and if you chose reading number 3, which is the fire rocket, then this is the reading for you. And we're going to start off your sneak peek by pulling a card here from the Enchanted Map Oracle. Just see what sneak peek the Creator wants to give you. It's by no means the full picture, but we'll see what the Creator wants you to have a heads up on. Anything else? Nope, not those. Okay. Okay, those two. So you have Protecting Treasure, card number 39. Beautiful card. And also Stuck in the Mud, card number 24. So let us take a look and see what messages come for this for you. The first one we're going to look at is the 39 there. If my fingers will get us there. There we go. So you are always protected and divinely directed. So although this next year may be a time of great risk, know that at a fundamental level, you are able to move forward safely and securely. The proverbial nest egg is safe and sound no matter the fluctuations in the world. Guardian angels and other guides are whispering to you, making you aware of their protective presence. Your loyalty is an important theme now. Nurture that which you hold dear. This is a good time to strengthen bonds of friendship and ensure their integrity. If you feel tested right now, know that a true and loyal heart always achieves its aim. Take refuge under an angel's wing. You are not alone and have no need to fear. Embrace your courage. So that is a great message, especially in our current times, that you are protected and divinely guided. And then you have the Stuck in the Mud, which says you're being invited to stop and savor the wonder of your life. Becoming stuck is sometimes the only way to trick yourself into slowing down and looking around you. In fact, this is a sign that you need to shift your focus away from what you're doing and place your attention elsewhere. Struggling will only get you to even muddier places. Now is not the time to move forward, but to observe. Clarity about your circumstances will come a little later. Stop and find the joy in what you've been overlooking. Soon you'll be out of the mud, but for now be still and know that Spirit has a plan for you. So there's this kind of beautiful cohesion between these two, in that, stand still, you're fine, you don't need to struggle to get out of the situation you're in, because you are divinely guided and you are divinely protected. So like this next year is not about a whole lot of change, movement, and, type of thing. It's like for you, if you chose this reading, this is like, just unless it's an absolute hell yes move and do this thing, like you are getting this huge urge, not out of fear, but out of like this nudge from Spirit, and with all the synchronicities in your life, and all that nudge, then I would sit still and enjoy and observe what is in your life right now. It's not a whole lot of change. We're also going to pull cards here from this True Heart Intuitive Tarot, and let's see what other messages come for you. All right, what else for our Gemini bottle rockets? I know, it's not bottle rockets, it's fire rockets, but for some reason, a bottle rocket in my head. Okay, with that one there, and that one there, and that one there. So just those, okay. So let's take a look at these here. And you've got the Five of Cups. So yeah, I mean, she's sitting in her emotions. She's sitting in her bathtub. Cups are your emotions. There's the Three Cups here, which are kind of like the disappointments of our life. You also have these beautiful Two Cups right behind you, which we'll talk about in a second. But these Three Cups that are fallen, this is like this, looking at the different experiences that you had in your life, these losses that you had in your life, and it's like, yeah, just sitting with them, processing them is an important piece for you this next year. And the Three Cups represent, one is like relationships, so it could be, a romantic relationship that ended, a family relationship, a friendship, a work relationship, even a relationship with our fur babies or our feather babies, right? So there could have been some sort of loss there, or loss of job and education, or loss of a physical, maybe someone passing out of the life, or something to do with your physical body or your possessions, like a home or a car or any other possessions, or your bank account. It's experiencing that, and this is not new losses that you have this next year. I really feel like this is like what you've already had, because these are all these memories on the wall that you're sitting in. You're sitting in the emotion, you're sitting in the water, and you're looking into those over this next year, just observing them, realizing you're protected and divinely guided, and that the stuff that happened in your life was happening for you. It wasn't happening to you. And it's allowing you to understand and experience what this human life is about. Because the Two Cups behind you, the Two of Cups card on its own, for me, represents the two different sides of you. The whole 2022 introduction I was talking about, the, you times two. One of them is this open vessel, this human side of us that we're here to experience all the opposites, but the other one is our higher spiritual self, which is the chalice. It's full of what our essence is, which is unconditional love, and nothing fills us up down here. All these three spilt cups here show that they are unstable and they are not eternal. They are temporary, because people do change or pass away. Situations do never stay the same. Things do deteriorate, break down, burn down, or are stolen. And so when we have like our essence based on the external things, we feel unstable and we feel shaky and we feel disappointed, and we experience all the dark emotions of the human experience. But when we are able to connect to our higher self, to that unconditional love being that we really are, then it pours down into us and we can fill up with that unconditional love here. So this next year is about feeling the feels, all of them, and that none of them are wrong. Every one of them is for us. And even though we may not understand why something happened and why we felt the pain that we did, why we would have wanted to feel the pain that we did, just grasping, not needing to understand it, but just going, you know what? I know that this happened in my life on purpose, for a purpose. And what did I learn about myself from it? And this next year really is about reflecting on a lot of that. And then you have the Princess of Wands, which wands are your fire, energy. It's your drive, your ambition, your aha inspiration, and also your spiritual energy. And the princesses in this deck, they're actually normally called pages in other decks. And pages mean two things. You have this new emotional fire, this new spiritual energy that comes in as you have this reflection that you're going to have this next year. As you connect to those Two of Cups, you have this kind of like what they call Kundalini energy, which is our inner spiritual energy that lies dormant until we're ready to wake up, till we're ready to express it. And I feel like this is what happens over this next year as you sit with that and you're like, okay, I've understood that, but now I want to see things from a different perspective. And you move the energy away from maintaining all of these emotions, and you move all these pictures off of your wall into a picture book that you'll take with you. You're not going to forget it, but you're ready to make new memories. You're ready to have new emotion. You're ready to express that inner fire in a different way. Pages also represent messengers. They were the ones that were like, hear ye, back in the olden days. And so because this represents spirit and that pages are messengers, this represents messages from spirit. So next year is going to be a huge year of communication where you get a lot of clarity around seeing a lot of synchronicities, whether it's license plates or bumper stickers or songs on the radio or some random junk mail you receive through the mail or through your email or a social media post or movie that you see or a conversation you overhear or a memory that drops into your brain or whatever it may be. You're just going to get these consistent messages that reinforce each other as you're going through that. And so keep your eye out this next year because, all these eyes. Yeah, definitely keep your eye out because you're definitely going to be getting messages from spirit. Yeah. Three of Cups. Cups is normally emotions, and this is normally like celebration and joy, which is great because this does, you transform from feeling this mourning to this place of celebration. But this also has a special meaning with me and my support team on the other side because this represents them. Whenever this pops up, this represents our guardian angels and our spirit guides, our loved ones who are already back on the other side, our ancestors, spirit, Holy Spirit, Creator, whatever you believe those beings of unconditional love and light are. This is them saying, yep, we're going to be here. They're always by you, but they're going to make themselves known in such awesome ways. And that makes sense with all these messages that you're going to be receiving. They're just going to blow your socks off. An example would be like a friend of mine, whenever we talked about her husband who had passed, and whenever it was a deep emotional experience, the fire alarm would go off. And so it always just cracked us up because it would just go off. Well, I accompanied her to take her husband's ashes to Hawaii. She's going to dump them off into the ocean. And one morning I woke up and walked out of my room and she was already outside and she had already dumped him in the ocean. And she was having an emotional moment because she was writing a goodbye letter to him because she was releasing him. And I'm like, why are you writing him a goodbye letter? He's not going anywhere, because he was telling me that. And right when I said that, the fire alarm in the little bungalow went off. And so I was like, oh, well, there he is. That's the kind of stuff that they will do. They are going to make themselves so known, so obviously to you, that you're just going to have your socks blown off. So pay attention. Although I don't know if you're going to have to. It's going to be so obvious too. And then you have the Six of Discs, which would be the Six of Pentacles. This is the giving and receiving card. Also, I call it the codependency awareness card. But this next year is about this change in your beliefs around what relationships mean to you and your belief in your ability to receive and your worth of receiving. Because what this message comes with this is, as an enabler, and I'm a recovering enabler, I always admit that. So I understand the enabler side quite well. Enablers, we have this core belief in our human side that we're not worthy to be desired or be around unless we have something to give. Because if I don't have anything to give, why on earth would you want to be around me? And that's the foundation of that. And so when we get into any kind of relationship, whether it's romantic, family, friends, work, whatever, it starts off where we'll allow a little bit of equal, but as soon as we're developing a relationship, we'll immediately turn from adult to mama bird, baby bird. And because we don't want to be on the receiving end, because that means you don't need us, we want to make sure that you are receiving from us, because we have a belief that if you need us, you'll never leave us. And so we give and we give and we give, and you try to give it back, and we're like, no. We give and we give and we give until we're exhausted, and then we become resentful because we're not receiving, even though we taught this person, don't give back to me. On the flip side, baby bird needs to give and wants to give and enjoy giving just like we do, but if we won't receive it, then they go outside our relationship. And if it's a romantic relationship, they might go outside and have an affair. They might invest themselves in their job instead and become workaholics. They might invest themselves in a sport or working out or their friends or some other activities where they're feeling, getting that response back, right? So that's what happens in a codependent relationships. And this awareness that comes in here is it keeps pointing us back to ourselves, because any relationship that we're in is a mirror. All those individuals that I had codependent relationships with were my beautiful teachers, continually showing me how I felt about myself until I saw it. Because I could not accept love any more than I loved myself. I could not give love any more than I loved myself. So if that, pipeline of love is this big, that's as much love as I can receive and how much love I can give. But the more self-love that I have and the more love that I find from within, then that capacity to receive and give love just is exponential. And this whole visitation we have here of our past spilled cups is directly related to this. But it's beautiful because as we're observing and as you're realizing that you are unconditionally loved by all of those beings on the other side, and that becomes your foundation, you allow yourself to receive, because you learn that you can love yourself unconditionally as well. And it starts with believing, does the Creator love you conditionally, or do they love you unconditionally? If it's conditional, then that's why you're always, in this cycle of not being good enough. Because there's always going to be something a condition that we do not consistently meet up to somehow. But when we're really stuck in the mud, stuck in that foundation of unconditional love, then there's nothing we can do to lose it. And there's nothing we can do to gain any more of it. And then we end up coming back to ourselves, filling up with beautiful love and allowing everyone else to have the overflow. We no longer feel we have to give and give and give until we're resentful or exhausted. We simply give to ourselves and fill up that unconditional love within us. And everyone else gets the overflow. We give that without expectation. And that beautiful overflow is so much sweeter than the bitter, sour waters of expectations that we were giving before. And then you have the 10 of discs, 10 of pentacles. So this is a whole new way of looking at your world. When you're all filled up with this, then you see the world as being, your world being full and complete and whole, but you also see the world in a different way. 10 is endings and new beginnings. So your outside world, you do have this new way of looking at what success is. And that makes sense as you're revisiting and looking back over this, all this stuff, you are feeling protected and you're feeling, blessed through it all. But you also, with this abundance, as you fill up, you see that the external world, all these 3 spilt cups were unstable, and that was not a strong foundation. But now you feel this new sense of security, this new sense of wholeness, this new sense of completeness as well. And then we're going to pull at least one card from this Art of Manifestation cards. We'll see how many pop out. This will just be your final little sneak peek into 2022. What else for our little Gemini fire rockets? What else would you like them to know? Okay, they want that one and they want this one. So your first one is a new love. Yep, definitely a new level of love. And that says the energy of new love is all around you. Sometimes if we've been hurt within relationship, we retreat, afraid of being hurt again. This card brings a clear message as an indication of your readiness to embrace love and begin a new relationship. It's safe to reach out. So this whole relationship thing, it's almost like you're walled in here. And so and it could be, this is a general reading, so sometime during the year, or at least at the end of the year, you'll be ready. And you'll know because you will not feel open until you do. But I love how this has the Creator and us, our higher and our lower selves too. This is like the Two of Cups, right? And then you have forgiveness of ourselves. Beautiful butterfly. When something goes wrong, even if the circumstances were out of our control, or we did the very best that we could possibly do, we can still carry guilt after the event. The gift of guilt is to help us to learn and to develop a conscience, not to carry as a ball and chain for the rest of our lives. Amen, right? Listen to the learning and forgive yourself for not being perfect. Release any guilt today. Yeah, and this has to do all with this as well. So understanding, where you were coming from, who you really are, is this amazing journey that you're going to have this next year. So new love is on its way, whether it is a new level of love with you and the Creator and yourself, with romantic or with family or with friends or with work or with new fur babies or new feather babies or whatever it might be, whatever relationship. You don't have to limit it. You're going to have this new level of love because of what you're going to be reflecting on this next year. So, yay! All right, well, I'm going to leave the reading there. As I mentioned before, this is just a little sneak peek into your next year. Definitely not everything on there. So if you want to be kept in the loop on any new messages that are coming out, because I do monthly readings by each zodiac sign, weekly readings for each of the elements like fire signs, water signs. I do moon, and full moon readings and a variety of other readings throughout the month. So if you do want to get notified as soon as those come out, if you haven't done so already, if you click that subscribe button and then click that notification bell, then you can just select to be notified on those. And also, if you want to help share these messages of love from above, if you want to give this video just a little thumbs up and click that like button, that just helps the YouTube algorithm share these as recommended videos to others. So if you want to help with that, greatly appreciate it. Never any pressure though. So as you go throughout this beautiful year and each and every second of every day of your life, please know that you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. Have an amazing 2022, but I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon. Until then, you take care.